Hey guys, what's up? So 1,000 subscribers. Wow, I can't believe it. I had 1,000 subscribers as a goal for a year from YouTube, and I was expecting 1,000 for a year at least. I was putting in a year from when I started. It's been less than a year actually. It's like 2 months before a year or something like that. You guys are amazing, amazing. Big hugs, everyone. Hugs, Carson. Hugs, group hug, group hug, group hug right now. Put your arm up, group hug. There we go. Okay, awesome, amazing. You guys, if I had money, I would give like 10,000 giveaways right now, but I don't. So I'm poor as shit. Okay, but what I can give you now, it's a story, just like I do every single time I make one of these videos. The 100 subs, the 500 subs, and now the 1,000 subs, and one for 5,000 subs. Hopefully we can make it there. I know you guys, so we can probably do it. Yeah. Okay, but before we get into that, something I forgot. It's live stream. I will be live streaming hopefully on the 2nd. I'm gonna be testing out all this week live streaming, so we can live stream. We're gonna make a big live stream on that Saturday. It's a Saturday night. We're gonna start at 8 or 9 p.m. I'm gonna announce this later in the week. 8 or 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which would be 7 or 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay, and then you guys do the calculation from there. Okay, so the story that I have today is a long story.
Very long.
And there's a lot of details that I'm probably not gonna be able to remember as I tell you guys. So I wrote it down. So I'm gonna read it to you guys. But this story is the story of my high school. And for some, actually for me, this is a huge deal. It was a huge deal because my high school was what molded me and where I learned the American culture and where I understood the American people, and I learned English, of course. Well, I knew English before, I knew how to understand them.
You legitimately sounded like Fez when you first came here.
When in high school, I sounded like Fez. Exactly. And my vocabulary was very low, and I didn't know much words either. So it was hard for me to express myself, and that's when I learned to express myself well. So I'm gonna start reading this story, you guys knowing that. Now, for me, this is a big deal. For you guys, it's just gonna be a story, just a normal story, high school story. So if you guys want to close the video now, no hard feelings. But for you that actually care, let's start.
It's interesting, to say the least.
Okay, so I'm gonna read, and I'm a bad reader, so you guys are gonna have to.
I can be your Morgan Freeman.
No, I'm gonna try to be my Morgan Freeman. Okay, let's start. It's 3 minutes to read already. After a long summer of no computer, drawing comics, and pretty much extreme boredom, there was something new, something that I did not know what to expect from or how to feel about it. Since I was from a different place, it did not mean anything to me as it did for my one friend I had back then. What I am talking about is high school. Until then, to me, school was a waste of life, meaningless and just boring. Never saw it as a social center or a place to hang out, at least here in America. High school here starts at 10th grade, or how they call it here, sophomore year. I do not remember much of my first days of high school, as it was not a psychological impact at all to me as it probably was to a normal American kid. The first thing that actually comes to my mind is Carson. Yes, that's right, my current wife. But back then, she was a complete different person. My friend Matt and I, with another guy called Nick, liked to walk around the halls during lunch, instead of going out to the mall or the gas station like everyone else did. In this time, we all got to meet many people that did the same, including this girl. She was different, to say the least. Very open-minded and not afraid to speak her mind. That's how I saw her. Maybe dressed a bit slutty, but that is only what got my eyes on her, not the rest of me.
I did. I was a big old hoe.
I was very shy myself. My English was horrible, so I could never talk to her like I would have wished for. My friend Matt and I both liked her, and we knew it. But in my innocent mind, I thought that as a friend, we either both get her or none of us get her.
Both get her.
Regardless, since I never had a girlfriend before or even kissed a girl, the thought of getting her was just an illusion. An illusion that should have not been messed with, especially by who created it. Carson. Liked to provoke guys, mess with their feelings without doing anything with them, for her own entertainment and of course without them knowing. I fell as one of her victims. My own little innocent mind In my own little innocent mind, she made me believe that I was in love with her, but I could not talk about it in school or to anyone.
You made me sound like a spider.
You were a fucking spider. Yes.
Am I good nail there?
Yes. Well, now you're married, so you're fucked. Yeah, Matt contacts me one day. I do not remember through what method of communication, but the important thing was the information I received that day. Him and Carson were together. In the beginning, she was messing with his feelings too, but then by the dark claws of her oldest sister, which had full control of Carson and manipulated her like her puppet, made her stay with Matt. This destroyed me. I felt things that I could have never even imagined feeling. I felt sick and I could not even play games to get my mind off of it. This conflict created a new and improved feeling in me and a new mindset that were hate and disbelief. No matter who you were, until you proved yourself otherwise, I hated you and I did not trust you. With these new ways of thinking, my whole self changed as well. I did not care about anything nor anyone or what they did except games. Games is the core of my new and renewed life. Of course, after that conflict with Matt and Carson, I did not ever want to talk to them again. So I made new friends, but without meaning to. It all starts in history class. I sat behind this kid, I heard that had a game that I got to try during the summer at Matt's house. This game was Diablo 2. Without caring about whom he was, I talked to him asking him if he had a game called Diablo. Straight up like that, without saying hi, or what's your name, or how are you. He replied yes, but of course he was not going to let me borrow it. I was not going to stop then. We had 2 more classes together, biology and North Star, which was a class for those kids that needed to make up credits from ninth grade. In these classes, I did many things to grab his attention, including throwing a pencil at his face and taking out his earbud and putting it in my ear. What? That little event was the beginning of a whole new thing. The music he was listening to was a music that I was looking for, but I could not find it since I did not know the name of the genres or bands that played it. This was the heaviest and full-on screaming music I ever heard. It started with Slipknot, and from then a whole new world of music I never heard but loved before. I went home every day and looked for bands. Found things like Acid Lake Dying, All That Remains, Killswitch Engage, Atreyu, and other bands that I cannot think of now, that I don't even listen to now. By showing him all these new bands, I made a new friend and I could show my true self to him. His name was Billy. We went to the same junior high school but never even talked. We lived pretty close to each other, so we started hanging out after school. In school, he walked around the halls during lunch with a group of people. In this group of people, there was a kid named John that showed us more awesome music that we liked. I do not remember much of how we started talking or how we started hanging out. It was Christmas. My big present was a used Xbox, the old big black box with Halo 2. From then on, my friend Billy would come over almost every day after school to play with me and beat me 100-0 every time. Andrew was my neighbor. We walked up from the bus stop together since we only lived 2 houses away. He heard the music I was listening to and he liked it. So he would come over once in a while and I would burn a full CD of music. I will burn him a CD full of music. Yeah. Huh? I look high? I am not high. I am never high.
I don't pay attention.
Okay. Alright. During the second semester of my sophomore year, I had art class with a guy called Austin Amos. We didn't become friends or anything, but he showed me a new genre of music very similar to the ones I listened to, but a lot harder. Now, don't confuse here harder and heavier. I listened to very heavy death metal, which was a lot of dark and fast notes with a steady beat and low scary screaming the whole time. This new music was a lot more upbeat, but the breakdowns were slow and steady, and there was screaming and singing. He showed me bands that were my favorite bands now, that are my favorites in the bands now, like A Day to Remember, Parkway Drive, and My Children, My Bride. He was also straight edge, something that I had no idea it existed. Straight edge is a trend, or depending on who you are, a promise to yourself and your friends that you won't do drugs or alcohol or smoke ever, or until you sell out for some. At first, I thought that was stupid and ridiculous. But after putting more thought into it and researching more and talking to my friends about it, I decided it was a good idea for me to take the title of straight edge. It was spring break. Billy, John, and I were very excited to be able to hang out together the whole week. All we did was walk to each other's house and play Halo together. Believe it or not, it was a very bonding experience for us, in which we could call each other our best friends. In that time, Billy and John also decided to become straight edge. It was summertime and we took on the same routine than spring break, except this time I was working with my grandma, so I had lots of money to pretty much throw away. So they would come over, wake me up, and we would walk 2.5 miles down to Jamba Juice and get one almost every day. Then we would walk back up to my house and play Halo for the rest of the day. It was 7/7/7. I still remember the date of my first Warped Tour. John, Andrew, and I, together with some other people, went to Warped Tour and had one of the most amazing experiences of our lives. For some reason, Billy couldn't come, but I do not remember why. In this Warped Tour, our lives changed a bit, or at least mine. Watching bands like Parkway Drive and Hazy Day let us discover a whole new world of fun in shows. Some of you may understand what I'm talking about. After that, Andrew was included into the picture and we became best friends. We would do everything together and spend every day together, since Billy would not come over as much because John found a job. We went to lots of shows this summer, and I remember seeing Bring Me the Horizon on A Day to Remember the night before school started. That was before Bring Me the Horizon went to complete shit. Junior year started. Since I was already happy to have awesome friends, it was time to look for some bitch to suck my dick constantly, per se. My hate for girls wasn't over, but I wanted to give it another try. First target was Kaylee, a short little blonde girl from the bus. She was a sophomore, so my thought was, if she's younger, it must be easier to get, right? Wrong. This bitch was the type of bitch that only liked the typical scrawny white kids, and I was not either scrawny or white, and for sure not typical. This heartbreak I handled well, I believe. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I made a big deal anyway. I sent a huge message over MySpace, which was a big thing at the moment, saying very scary, gory, and demonic things, not to mention the amount of swearing on it. This picked up the attention of her mother and threatened me of getting a restraining order on me. I was done with her anyway, so I didn't care and quickly moved on. Second target was Jessica. This girl, even though did not have the looks of the perfect girl in my mind, but she was an amazing person. I really liked her and I was afraid to try anything out with her since I did not want to ruin our awesome friendship we had. But if she wanted to go for it, I would have taken her. She started dating this kid called Ian. I just stopped talking to her and I didn't like that kid in the first place. Thanks to that event, I kept all the feeling to myself and I decided to start writing music, including the lyrics, which were inspired by this. In between all these events, I'm not sure exactly when, Matt stops me in the halls at school. He has been talking about the condom breaking for a while, but this time was for sure. Carson was pregnant, but I could not care less by then. I did not even ask him what he was going to do. All I said was, that sucks.
How'd you bring that up?
Well, I just mentioned it. During this time, I discovered a game called Last Chaos, which was awesome at the moment. I played it all the time with my friend Andrew. One time in art class, I was talking about it with my friend. Some kid decided to jump into the conversation and ask if we were talking about World of Warcraft. We instantly replied with a no, of course talking shit on the game that we haven't even tried before. Later on, art class was a constant friendly discussion of Last Chaos being better than WoW. Eventually, that kid whose name was Tom gifted me World of Warcraft for my birthday. Yeah, World of Warcraft 1.
Best one.
My best friend dropped out of high school and I felt incomplete. School was back to being worthless and boring. My other friends were there and I had fun with them, but it wasn't the same thing. In this depression, we could call it, I lost myself in the realm of Warcraft. Time passed without noticing, and I did not talk to anyone. I played all night and slept in class. By the time I realized that was happening, it was the end of the summer. My friends were doing their own thing and my best friend had found new friends. This depression was a real one. Senior year started. I wanted to get my friends back, so I stopped playing WoW as soon as I hit 80 when Wrath came out. We started going to shows again and hanging out after school, but the spark wasn't there anymore. At this time, everything felt like it was against me. The world was against me, and nothing ever went the way I wanted it. From this, I learned that life sucks, and I have to get over it and live happy with what I have. My friend John got the pee beat out of him by his dad, literally. His dad ran from the state for reasons I will not get into, and John moved into my house. That was a very bonding experience for us, and we became best friends. And I'm not sure if he can call me that to this day, but I can still call him my best friend. From all the things that I learned from him and the respect that he always gave me, more than any other friend I had. This all happened near December 30th, in which night we went to hang out at his girlfriend's house, where we re-met an old, we could say, friend named AJ. He played guitar and I was looking for someone to play guitar for the band that I wanted to start. Because of that, we started to hang out and we became very good friends, and our group of friends was solid once more. Second semester of my senior year starts. My friend John drops out of school, but it wasn't so bad for me since he was living with me. Now it was just me, Billy, and AJ at school. There was a silly kid at school in which we would pick on. He liked listening to the same music than us and knew all about straight edge, but he liked to smoke and do other things. He would always threaten us of calling his big brother, a big straight edge figure I guess, to beat us up. But he wasn't around. He became our drummer and he was actually extremely good at it. He sealed it and we became a band and started playing every week. John on vocals, AJ on guitar, me on bass, and him, Ryan, on drums. Another bonding experience for us. Ian came into the picture. He had a car, so I started talking to him through another friend. Later on, I found out that he was an awesome guy and we became friends. Spring break time. We planned a trip to Idaho. A bunch of awesome bands were playing there that refused coming to Utah because of the fights. I know I was going because I wanted to see Windsor play. Let's just start with that we never made it to a show. This ride was the ride of our lives. So many things happened. First, we ran out of gas and we had to walk 2 hours with my friend Billy and Corey, which I will only mention. Then the radiator in the car broke and the car overheated. We had to stop about every 15 minutes to cool down the car. And lastly, another friend that was in front of us was arrested for going 140 an hour. And John decided to go back and bail him out. That was it for me. I could not take the frustration anymore and I exploded. Lost control, and the first person that was there was Billy. Poor Billy. I pushed his eyes in with my thumbs and slammed his head against the car seat repeatedly. I regret that, of course. That trip was no longer the trip I wanted to be, that we wanted it to be. All we were hoping is making it to the hotel so we could sleep and come back home. I don't think Billy ever saw me the same way after that, even though we were still friends and I never did something like that to any of my friends again. Not much happened between them and graduation. rather than some little bitch drama on a bunch of shows. In between there, I met a girl called Des. All I wanted at first was some pussy, but later on, she became one of my best friends. But that story is not for this video. Out of the original group of friends, Billy, Andrew, John, and I, only one graduated. That was me. Later on, after that, some of us moved in together. But that story is also for another time. That's for the 5,000 sub video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story.
Very long.
Yeah, it's just long and interesting.
Don't think of me any different.
Yeah, and you will understand a lot more what happened here when we hit 5,000 subs. All right. So I hope you guys like this, and you guys take care.
I think
Good
I'm bored.
hunting.
Bye.